I'm gonna record. So, good morning. Happy Saturday. Do you have your coffee ready to go?
I do.
I already had two, so so today we're going to be talking about cooking with oils. So one of the cool things about it is that a lot of people think that essential oils are not safe to ingest, and there are certain oils, of course, that you cannot ingest. But if you have high quality oils that are tested for the purposes of ingestion, then you definitely can safely use them and add health benefits very easily to a lot of like favorite dishes, drinks, cocktails even. Could be like your tea or your coffee, could be a mimosa, could be whatever, like mojitos, anything you're making, you can add a little bit of oil to it and it adds that fresh herb taste or whatever fresh, fruit or whatever you're going for there. So like a citrus or anything like that. So I wanted to share a PowerPoint because I think that that will be kind of like a nice visual for everybody. Just let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Perfect. So it's just cooking with essential oils is all we're going to be talking about today. Really quickly, we're going to try to keep it to half an hour. So first of all, we wanted to talk about why bother cooking with oils. So flavor burst, it is like super powerful to add oils to your marinades or dressings or anything that you're making because it adds such a huge amount of flavor. It also has internal use benefits that we can get into a whole bunch another time. But if you've ever looked up what to use internally with essential oils, like there are huge benefits health-wise to using them internally. And I think actually we're going to see over the next few years a lot more long-term third-party like university studies are going to come out showing, the actual internal benefits with huge amount of proof behind them, not just like randomly hearing about it in a blog post or whatever. But they're safe and they're obviously natural ingredients because they are extracted directly from a beyond organic piece of fruit or herb or whatever. So, and they're super convenient. So like you and I were talking about, if you're making guacamole and you happen to not have fresh lime and cilantro on hand, you just put a couple drops of each into your guacamole, and then it tastes like legit, real, authentic Mexican guacamole.
I did that yesterday.
There you go. Yeah. So easy. Okay, so is essential oils, like cooking with essential oils, safe? So historically, they have used them since like Egyptian times. So that they have always been mentioned. So they have been used forever. So there's your historical. They're part of our diet anyway, because we actually do ingest them out of real fruits and foods and like obviously fresh herbs and everything like that. Our stuff is high quality and well tested, which makes them safe to consume. I'm going to go through which ones not to use, obviously. So arbor vitae is one not to use: cedarwood, cypress, Douglas fir, eucalyptus, spikenard, white fir, and wintergreen. So I also have a PDF for anybody who wants this stuff afterwards. Just drop, like replay, I'd love the PDF or something like that below. Or if you're joining us live, say yes, please, I'd love the PDF. And then we will send you it because it will have all the stuff that I'm going to talk about in a nice little ebook. And it will also mention which ones to use internally and which ones not to and all that kind of stuff. So if you feel like this information comes too fast, just let us know and we'll get you that PDF so that you actually have that as well. But these are the ones that you do not want to use internally. So a lot of these are super powerful to use topically or aromatically. So eucalyptus would be a great example. That's like one of the main pieces in Vicks Vapor Rub or something, which we've been all using forever. And so it's very, very effective if you apply it topically to your chest, or your back or the bottoms of your feet, on your toe, that kind of thing. Also, if you diffuse eucalyptus and lavender and things like that, it can really suppress, like if you have a cough or something like that, it can really like calm those airways for you just to be able to get a better sleep and things like that. So cedarwood is actually excellent too. Like all these different oils have such different uses. Arbor vitae, actually, I'm using on one of my sons right now who has molluscum contagium, which is like basically little viral bumps that show up all over your skin. And I'm actually applying that with a few other oils to him, and it's starting to shrink them, which is awesome because the doctors just say, oh, it's viral and there's nothing we can do. You got to wait it out, usually 2 years. I was like, Anyways, so all these different ones are the ones that you do not want to ingest, but you can certainly use them in the air, especially some of the fir. If you want to be spraying those on your Christmas trees or whatever, they're totally fine if they're in the air. You just don't want to be drinking them. So things to remember, essential oils and heat. So heat will actually change an essential oil just like it does with any other thing. So you just want to be mindful that it could change the health benefits. So then basically what you want to do is just add it at the end. So if you're making spaghetti sauce and you're simmering it for hours, you don't want to add oregano oil until the very end. And then you want to make sure that you put it on a spoon first so you don't get too much. You can always add more oil, but you can't take it out and it can wreck a batch of something because they're that potent. Cookware, you want to really avoid plastics if it's going to be sitting for a long amount of time. So like in a blender, for example, you're going to be blending a smoothie and you're going to be pouring it out and it's only going to be in there for like a couple minutes. So that's not as bad. But essential oils, some of them have the properties to be able to start to break down petrochemicals. So you just want to be mindful that you're using, you know, like a ceramic cookware or stainless steel or glass water bottles, you know, things like that. And then measuring, obviously, I just kind of touched on it. You can ruin a batch of something if you're not measuring things. So you want to, like, with a really hot oil, we'll get into that. You want to use a toothpick. So hang on, let's just get into that. So cooking with heat, add it at the end, just like I mentioned. Some of them will evaporate off and then some of them will actually change their components. So you really want to make sure that you're adding them at the end just for the flavor burst, just like you would do with fresh herbs. So when we're simmering a spaghetti sauce, we add a lot of dried herbs and don't worry about it. But when you're adding fresh herbs, you want to do it right at the end so they don't get damaged. Same thing with essential oils. Cookware, I just went through that. Glass, ceramic steel, stainless steel, especially water bottles as well. Like you want to just be careful if you're putting stuff into your water that you're not letting it sit for hours and hours in plastic kind of thing. Measuring, so the toothpick method, you literally take a toothpick, something like oregano. So these are like potent essential oils, like really, really strong. Basil, I can attest to that. I did a roasted red pepper dip one time and I completely ruined it because I put 2 drops of basil in and I should have used like a half of a drop of basil. And I was so mad because I roasted the red peppers and everything. Anyway, so cassia, which is kind of related to cinnamon, clove, cumin, oregano, and thyme. So all very, very strong, very potent oils. So you just want to make sure that you know, a toothpick, and then you literally take your toothpick and swirl it around in your dressing or your marinade or whatever, and then taste the, you know, whatever you're making and just see what it tastes like. You can always dip the other end of the toothpick back into the essential oil bottle and do it again. Now, you don't have to be this careful when you're using something like lime and cilantro and grapefruit and lemon and, you know, because those aren't going to like rock your world. But these ones right here, super important that you're really just careful. So what I always do is if it's not something small, like a small batch, like a dressing or a marinade, if it's like a spaghetti sauce, I'll just put a drop right onto a spoon and then put it in because you know if 2 drops came out instead of 1, which is easier to just rinse off in the sink and then go again because sometimes they come out too fast. So that's just a heads up. Okay, so flavor guide when you're cooking with oils. Citrus is awesome for beverages, baked goods, like dip, salsa, anything you want to add zest to, even just your water. A lot of those are really, really, really good. So citruses would, like the ones that come to mind that I have in my cupboard are lime, grapefruit, wild orange, lemon. I think those are the ones I have. There's like white grapefruit and a bunch of other ones that have been like the product of the month lately. So you guys might have those as well. But there's like tangerine and there's all kinds of different ones. Green mandarin actually smells like green mandarin, like Christmas oranges. So anything like that you want to add. So I've actually added them to like cupcakes, or my son Rhett always says, I want to add oil. I want to add oil. So pancakes and stuff like that. Basically anything we're making, you can add an essential oil just to boost that flavor. So if we're going to go for more spices, then you can do it in your vegetables, your meat marinade, sweet or savory dishes, obviously, if you're adding like cinnamon or something like that. Herbs are obviously very versatile. We use them in all kinds of different things. So Italian type dishes, meat marinade, soup, bread. Yeah, you could add it to bread, potatoes, pasta, and you can substitute them for dry herbs. So something like cilantro, for example, 1 drop of cilantro is 2 tablespoons of fresh cilantro chopped up. So it's really, really easy to actually have that stuff on hand and put that fresh flavor into your stuff just by having them in your cupboard, because you're not always going to have fresh herbs on hand, right? Especially up here, man, we're heading into winter so bad. It's so snowy out there. So you're going to, you don't have a garden anymore, obviously. So it's nice to be able to add those. So florals are more for desserts. You can put them in tea, baked goods, obviously. You can use them to soften a citrus flavor, like if you're doing like a lemon and lavender, or like we do lavender lemonade in the summertime. But florals, I mean, you can add like lavender, so versatile. You can add it to your icing on your cupcakes. There's lots of different ways you can play around with them. And as long as you're staying away from the ones we mentioned at the very beginning, then you can play with all the different flavors and just see like what your family or you like the best. So it's not, you can't really screw up with it as long as you're staying away from like wintergreen you would never add to your food. Like it's just not the kind of smell, that's the kind of smell you want to rub on sore muscles. It's not really what you want to put in your dessert. But mints are awesome for beverages, desserts, salads, obviously, and certain meats like lamb and stuff like that. So anytime you were thinking of what would I add fresh mint to, so you could use peppermint, you could use spearmint. There's just all these different ways that you can kind of play around with the flavor profile with the mints. One of my girlfriends said that she bought the spearmint in the BOGO box last year, and she said that her mojitos this summer were amazing. They just popped with flavor because she used them. But even if you're just drinking like a plain soda water, you know, and you want to add a little flavor without, you know, a lot of the ones that they're marketing to us as natural flavor, it's actually total crap, which is why we get a stomachache from them a lot of the time. So if you actually just have like your club soda and you just add a couple drops of essential oils, you'll still get that amazing taste, but you won't get that stomachache from whatever the so-called natural ingredients are, right?
Yeah, I like grapefruit in my club soda.
Yeah, so good. And even if you're making cocktails, you can easily add a couple of drops. Like you could do wild orange and spearmint, or you could do peppermint and lime, or you could, you know, you can play around with it a lot.
I've done lime and margaritas when we didn't have fresh lime.
Was it good?
It was good. Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to hop in really quick. I'm just going to gloss over these recipes just to give you an idea of what there is. But again, those are all going to be listed in that PDF. And don't be like, oh man, I have to follow this recipe exactly. But sometimes just reading through some of these recipes will just give you an idea of what you can play around with in your own kitchen when you're making normal dishes that you already make. So obviously beverages, you can make all different kinds of smoothies. Here's a great example of what you could put in. And this one obviously has ginger essential oil in it, which I friggin' love the taste of fresh ginger. But you know, again, you don't always have that on hand. So it's so good to be able to just throw a little bit in. Marinades, these are just some examples of the ones that you could use in a marinade. Basil, black pepper, cardamom, cilantro, cumin, fennel, ginger. You can read. I don't have to read them all. But anyways, it's just like you mix it with a little bit of olive oil, and then you literally can drizzle it onto anything for a flavor boost. It's crazy cool. Baked goods, you can obviously add these into your liquids before you mix it all together. So cinnamon would be an easy one to throw in there. Soup, salsas, dips, sauces, those are all easy ones to add that stuff to. So even if you just have like focaccia bread and you're dipping it into some oil and vinegar, you can give that a totally different flavor profile every time just by adding one drop of an essential oil and mixing it with the olive oil before you add the balsamic or whatever on top.
I find that with salad dressings too. Like it's so easy to make.
Yeah, I make
good salad dressing.
Salad dressing all the time. It's so easy to do. And I think I make it different every time. Like I just grab random different ones out of the cupboard and throw them in there. And then when I like the taste of it, I pour it. So raspberry lime vinaigrettes obviously would be easy to do as well. The sky's kind of the limit for this. Here's some seasoning examples of just how to add a little flavor on, you know, into your soups or pastas or whatever. So here's the cover of the ebook that I can send out. So if you guys are interested in getting the information that was in here today, then definitely just reach out to one of us and we will send you this PDF. And that is it. I tried to keep it super short. How did I do?
You nailed it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Last week it was way too.
I know.
Way too. Okay, now we're back on coffee chat.
Yeah.
I just did 15 minutes. That's a new record.
Yes, well done.
Okay, so I don't know if is Natasha on?
Yeah, she's on. She's been commenting a bit.
So does anybody have any questions is what I guess I should say. I know there's a little bit of a delay with the Zoom, but for anybody who just wanted the info, that is the info portion. And now we'll just move to Q&A and coffee chat. Comments?
Is there any way that we can see when you, like what the dilution, like the recommended dilution would be for some of the stuff, like if you're adding it into drinks, like I know with some, it's like you should have about 4 ounces of liquid. Oh. Or you could kind of just do it on your own.
I I think they mentioned that in the PDF actually.
Okay, cool. Because that's the only thing I was wondering is if some need to be diluted by a certain amount of liquid.
Yeah, I think it's in the PDF, but I think also something that's super important to remember with oils that you and I talk about quite a bit is just like listen to your body. If something tastes too strong or it's giving you like a funny feeling stomach, it's too much. So I was thinking of examples, and I was thinking like coffee. If you drink too many cups of coffee, you get a stomach ache and you start to shake and you're sweaty and you're clammy. That's like a perfect example of something that is safe to consume, but if you have too much of it, your body starts to tell you like enough, Same with sugar. I mean, everybody likes sugar, but everybody also is familiar with if they eat something and they say like, oh man, it was just sticky sweet. It's like your stomach says that's too freaking much. You're killing me here. So same thing with oils. Like you just have to remember, listen to your body. If you don't like the smell of something, it's probably a compound in it that your body doesn't like or need. If you're feeling like nauseous ever, or you feel sick ever, like just like with food, like you would not want to eat that, or you've eaten too much or you've consumed too much, or like, so there are recommended like, oh, you probably want 4 ounces per drop, but at the same time, if it's not a super strong oil and your body's okay with it, then you're fine. But I would say like even adding it to water, like you're not going to want to add more than an ounce or a drop for every 4 ounces because it would taste super strong, and it wrecks water if it's too much, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just play around with it. What's your favorite go-to recipe that you like to cook with oils with?
I feel like I use citruses the most. I do need to order oregano oil on my next order, but the citrus ones, like in salad dressing, in my water, like I have like a liter water bottle and I'll just add either orange, lemon, or grapefruit. Yeah. And grapefruit's a really good one for your metabolism too. So I try to add that one, and I like that in my salad dressings. And lime, I use lime in a lot of things. Like yesterday, I used lime with my avocado, and
yeah, it's so easy to add that stuff.
Yeah, and drinks too if you don't have like fresh lime on hand. Like with margaritas, I was like, oh, we'll just use this. I have everything else.
Totally. What was I going to say? I think for cooking, I probably use citrus and herbs the most. But I think it's cool too, because once you kind of dive into oils a little more, you start to realize that you can use them for other health benefits. So it's kind of like a bonus that you can add them for a flavor boost in cooking, but you can also like diffuse them or apply them topically when you're not feeling well, or like an uplifting mood. Most of the citruses are very like happy, uplifting. Like wild orange is one of the best oils out there for like helping somebody calm down or focus, including kids. Like there's all kinds of research out by like pediatricians that specialize in like ADHD and stuff like that are actually trying to figure out how much, like they're doing studies like crazy right now to try to get kids off of like Ritalin and all these other drugs because there's such horrible side effects with them. And they're going to natural solutions. And so wild orange is like renowned as one of the best ones for kids for anxiety, ADHD, because it just allows them to ground themselves and focus while having like a happy feeling naturally. Yeah.
And is that if you ingest that one or if you smell it, or both?
So I would say most of the time they're talking about just diffusing it in the room. Some of my girlfriends, like Tambra, if you watch this later, maybe just comment below. Like she's the one that told me about it first when I had first heard about it. And she just said if she diffuses wild orange in the kitchen in the morning when her kids are eating breakfast, she has 4 kids and she homeschools them. She said it's like a completely different morning of school than if she doesn't. Everybody just like stays calm and goes and focuses and does their thing. And I've actually, now that I've kind of learned that, I've talked more about it, and a lot of girls have said the same thing. So if you have like anybody that's struggling with anxiety, what is it, $13 a bottle for wholesale members? Like it's one of the least expensive oils we have, and it's so worth it. It's such a good oil to have.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my next order too, I think.
Yeah, wild orange, one of my faves. I would say that I use wild orange every single day, at least once in my diffuser. Peppermint and wild orange together are my favorite daytime.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, such a nerd. Okay, Natasha, do you have questions? I saw
she has like a recipe. I replied to her and asked, she said spearmint chicken. I said, save it or share it if you have the recipe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh. She says cilantro is potent too. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's potent like on the same level as some of those ones that we mentioned before, like oregano or something like that. But I love the taste of cilantro, so I find it's like awesome to add that one to my Greek salad dressings and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, even if you put 2 drops of cilantro in and give it a stir and taste your whole dressing, like, you'll know if it's too much or not. And I would say like 2 drops of lime. I usually do 4 drops of lime and 2 drops of cilantro, but just play with it. Just do 1 drop of each at a time kind of thing until your palate likes it. That's what I would recommend.
And then you could always just add more oil if it's too strong. Just make a bigger batch of dressing.
Yeah, like that's the beauty thing of salad dressing is you could always add more oil and vinegar and whatever and just like keep the extras. But like with a batch of spaghetti sauce or a dip or something like I'm telling you, that made me so mad that one day when I wrecked my red pepper.
Yeah.
Roasted red pepper dip. Like you can't just whip up another batch of that to add to it. So definitely like with marinades and stuff and dressings, it's easier to just be able to like add more until you get your flavor. But with like a sauce or something that's finished, you just want to be really careful with how much you're adding. I saw Mary was on here. She wants the PDF.
Yeah, Natasha, Corey, and Mary all want it.
Hey, Mary. Haven't talked to her this week. She wasn't feeling well last weekend and she did the On Guard lemon.
Nice.
All great. Okay, well, what else do we want to chat about?
Will you send me that PDF too?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't seen that
I'll
yet.
post it in the comments right now, actually. Right. She said she's feeling good now. Perfect. Okay, perfect. I just dropped it in there, the link. But if I can also send it out by email to anybody too. If you want to just, sometimes it's nice to have it emailed to you so that you can save it in a folder somewhere so you can come back to it. So just let us know if you want that and we'll email it to you. And you can save it. Okay, so I think the only thing I wanted to repeat this week was just like the difference between grocery store or mall, like the essential oils that you can buy in the mall versus the ones that you buy from doTERRA, because they're a completely different product. So last week, if you guys were watching, you probably already heard this, but if you are watching for the first time, then it's basically, I was explaining it like a croissant. So you can buy the ones at Walmart that have 37 ingredients in them that are like $2 for a dozen, or you can buy one from like a world-renowned famous French pastry chef and it's $2 for 1 croissant from him, right? Or her. And so the difference is that there's completely different ingredients, fillers, preservatives, anything to make that product cheaper and last longer in the Walmart one. I'm picking on Walmart because we all know Walmart. And then on the other side, you have somebody that's taking probably like the best, finest hand milled flour with like real butter and salt. And, you know, there's like 7 ingredients in a real croissant versus 37 in the ones you buy at Walmart. So the ingredients are different, the way they're made are different, and the end results are completely different. And so when we only compare price points, obviously it's not going to make sense to go and buy a $2 croissant for, you know, just 1 croissant. You're going to want to 12 for the $2. But if you start to realize that those are actually like literally, just because they're called croissants and they can be allowed to be marketed as that, same thing with oils. Just because something says 100% pure doesn't mean that that's actually what's in it. There's no regulations for essential oils for what can go into the bottles and be listed as 100% pure. They only are required to do 10% real oil in them. So all the middlemen that happen between the growers and whoever the end user is, like there's just so many times that they'll cut it or add crap, or it's oils from a company like doTERRA. It doesn't fit our bill, so we pass it along onto the open market, and then it gets, you know, diluted or adulterated or whatever, just to be able to make it cheaper. That's the way the world works. So doTERRA does the right thing when nobody's looking, and all day long you'll see, if you start to look into doTERRA at all, what they actually do from their partnerships with the people who actually grow all of our stuff. And then because it comes from them straight to us, straight to our labs, and then goes to a third-party lab and then back to doTERRA before it's even allowed to even be processed for bottles. And you can also, each doTERRA bottle, you can actually trace it back with the barcode that's on it all the way back to the source. It will tell you exactly where it came from, the date that it was harvested. Like it costs them so much money to be able to do that, but they wanted to be fully transparent. And this is why they are literally standing there claiming to be the best in the world. It's because they take the time to actually do it right.
Another thing too is with the cheaper oils that you can get at like Walmart or wherever. Something I heard before, it'd be like making coffee. Like you get your coffee grounds and you make a pot of coffee. It's great the first time. And then if you use those same grounds over and over and over again, the coffee is not going to be as great. And that's what happens with those cheaper oils. They're just like, maybe at one point it was pure and then they diluted it how many times or distilled it how many times. And now it's like, it's not as potent and it won't have the same results. I never ingest like the cheaper ones. I have a couple from Sage, and Sage is still a good product, but I wouldn't ingest them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think with your coffee analogy, it's perfect because I had a girlfriend who, her dad had sleeping problems and he always used lavender, but he would use 15 to 20 drops of lavender a night. And then I gave her a little sample bottle of doTERRA and he said he only used 2 drops.
Yeah. So you pay more, but it lasts longer.
Yeah, totally. And it's a totally different product.
Yeah.
Health-wise, health benefit-wise. So yeah, Mary, I just saw your comment. I can totally email you too. Yeah.
I just sent you a message of the girls that want it emailed to them.
Okay, perfect. I'll just I'll get that done right away here because we're going to Red Deer. We're on the road again. Every weekend we're going.
I know. So funny.
Stay home in my pajamas for one day.
Yeah, that's what I did yesterday.
I know, that was awesome. I'm jealous of you.
But I should go because I have to be somewhere at 9:30. But good job on keeping it under half an hour. That was perfect.
Yeah, nailed it. Okay, and for anybody watching, if you guys have questions, actually, I think most of you guys are already clients. So if you want help adding any of these to your next LRP for next month, then let us know. We can totally help you with that. And also, if you don't know what LRP is, it's loyalty rewards program. And doTERRA literally just like gives really great incentives to people who order regularly. So you earn points back towards your next purchases. And then they also give you a crack at a free product of the month every month. If you order.
I got so much free stuff on my last one.
Yeah, if you order, and this month, if you order a 200 PV order, Mary, did you get yours already? I think you did. If you order 200 PV order, which if you don't know what that is, ask whoever your consultant is or drop them in the comments and we can totally help you in here in the Facebook group. 200 PV order anytime this month still gets you 4 free products. The Calmer roller, the Digestion tablets.
Those are great. Those
are
are awesome. Yeah, I really like those.
So what are you using them for?
Just anytime I eat something that doesn't, like I take the Terrazyme before, but then like last night when I ate all that pizza, I took one of those after and I woke up this morning being like totally fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, it says it's for like nausea and stuff too, but and for like bloating and stuff. So like maybe menstrual stuff. I don't know if that'll work for it. I'll try it out. But yeah, there was lots of good stuff in there.
Good. So Terrazyme you ate before, so your stomach didn't hurt, and Digestion tablet or like a soft gel you took just to make sure overnight that you wouldn't feel crappy in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Mary, that's a good idea. I haven't tried it that way. That's perfect. And then what are the other ones? Peppermint oil and what's the other roller?
It's sleep, like a calming, and then another stomach one. I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah, the tummy tamer. So
yeah, the tummy tamer. Yeah.
Both of those are from the kids line, the Calmer roller and the tummy tamer. So they're safe for kids and adults, obviously, but properly with kids in mind, which is awesome. So tummy tamer, if you have a baby or a kid and they get an upset tummy ever, you just roll that on, or if they're car sick or any kind of nausea, roll that on. Might even help with anxiety if you have kids that are, having, stomach aches and stuff from, you think it might be something like that.
Yeah, I didn't look at what's in there, but I should, because it might help with anxiety.
It's a lot more spearminty, the tummy tamer, than pepperminty. So a real peppermint, like a 15 ml big bottle of peppermint, and 2 rollers, the Calmer and the tummy tamer. And then the Calmer is just a really nice lavender blend. It's a really nice one. So it's great for adults too. And then also the Digestion soft gels, which of course you can take morning and night, and it just literally goes in and helps. Doesn't matter whether you have like, a hyper or hypo state. So meaning like you could be constipated or you could have diarrhea.
Yeah.
That oil blend will bring you back into balance. It's called adaptogenic herbs. So the oils are from a lot of those herbs, and it'll bring you back into equilibrium, balance out your digestive tract, and really help you with your digestive health. So also next Saturday, we're going to be talking about like digestive support after the sugar. So that'll be a lot to do with Halloween candy and like what sugar actually does in our systems and how we can actually support it. Because we're still going to eat it sometimes, but like
it's already started to happen. Like it's so many boxes of candy at work.
Everywhere.
It's the last thing I need.
Totally
A tummy tamer will be good too.
Yep.
Have that on your kids after they go trick or treating or whatever they have to do now.
If they don't have a stomach ache, if you rub that on there, it's still going to help their digestive system to stay calm and process the sugar properly. You know what I mean? So those are 4 free products. That's over $100 free this month if you order 200 PV before the end of this month. So by October 31st. So if you wanted to process, if you haven't set up your LRP yet, you can totally do that. If you have and you want to set it for next month, Mary, I know you already got your 200 PV, so I think you already got all that stuff. Oh, she said tamer. She knew what the other one was. But for anybody else who hasn't set up an LRP yet, like a loyalty rewards program order, let us know and we'll show you. We can send you the literature on it so that you know like what the benefits are and whether you want to do that. And you might as well be getting points for the stuff that you're ordering, right? And if you don't know if you're going to have like enough orders, I always tell people there's always going to be a few people around you that are going to be like, yeah, I would like to try like lavender or peppermint. So then that can be the order for the next month. It doesn't always have to be you. There's always people around that want to try an oil or two, but maybe they're not ready to commit to a whole kit. So if you have your loyalty rewards order set up for the monthly order, you change it each month. It's super easy. And if you process it each month, a minimum of like 50 PV, then you start earning more percentage. So you start out at 10 and then you can work your way to 30% back. That's where I'm at. 30% back on every single thing that I buy towards future purchases. So it's like a no-brainer.
And Christmas is coming. So I just like add things onto my LRP order and then those can be like stocking stuffers and little gifts.
There's an awesome holiday brochure that just came out for the
I just got that.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really awesome products for Christmas this year. So those are coming out. I think they're released, some of them November and some of them December. So watch for those announcements. We'll be dropping them in the Facebook group as well. Okay, with that said, I hope everybody has a great weekend. And yeah, like let us know, obviously, if you have any more questions about cooking with oils or anything like that. And also, Lindsay, you're the winner. Sorry, I should have been.
Oh, yay. I was wondering who won.
Yeah, so I got to get her cilantro and a lime, and that's for her.
Perfect. Well done.
Okay, well, have a great weekend, everybody, and we will talk soon.
See you later. Drive safe.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.